So if you're a doctor, if you're a nurse, if you're a physical therapist, if whatever, and you were like, man, I want to start this, but I'm scared. Just know that if you start it and it doesn't work, they are never going to stop hiring doctors. You will always find a place that you can go work. Yes, I understand there's some financial elements of it, but like if you wanted to try and start and do something different or start your private practice, and 3 years later, I promise the hospital will hire you. And there's so many tools and resources out there that you could say, all right, I'm going to go with a minimal investment, right? Like I'm going to go buy a little bit of price transparency data. Like CMS publishes their rates. I can assume like 140% of like a CMS rate could be a commercial plan, or I can go to another company and spend like $1,000 and get like literally the price transparency for every commercial plan, like, you know, in the area for all the specialties around me. So I can see like what the rates are going to be. And I can make a pretty good financial model because like, no, like it's just going to be me. I'm going to have an MA. I'm going to have an office space. It's going to be like this much money. And here I need 20 patients a week or whatever just to break even. And then when you can just like break it down to those basic numbers, I'm not talking about writing a 50-page business plan and sending decks and raising. I'm just talking about like one sheet, one Excel file. Do these numbers work? Can in my brain I do this? Can I go find 20 patients that need this type of service that I can then like just break even on? Because there's a tremendous power in breaking even. And yeah, maybe you're not going to like step out way and make, you know, 400K the first year. You're not going to make, you know, $1 million or whatever within 2 years, but like you can lay the foundation and you can like survive, right? Like you can feed the family, you can do whatever, because you like, you know what you need to break even. And when you know that, it really unleashes like this whole wide world.
No, I love the simplicity too, right? Like the KISS principle, keep it simple. Two things that kind of came up in my mind as you were talking there. Number one is there's so many different situations out there, right? Like we talk about this pendulum of employed physicians, but there's also people that are in private practice and they want to maintain their autonomy, but they're like, the finances have gotten so difficult and I've built this machine. And I'm not necessarily, I'm just going to use myself as an example, but say you build something and you build it to the point where you're like, all right, Medicare rates are coming down, commercial rates are coming down every single year. The cuts are coming, staffing, expenses, overhead, everything's going up every year. So at some point that business model starts to shift into a loss mode. So how do you, in that situation, unwind that clock? Because a lot of practices are saying, well, we'll just sell to private equity, right? We're still private, and then you hear the miserable stories of people that have done that and they wish they wouldn't because they're like, well, I'm not an employed physician. I'm not hospital employed. So how do you maintain your independence and how do you unwind or, you know, unravel that machine that you've created?
That time, it's like, okay, now I definitely know what I don't want, right? I mean, there's a huge value in that.
There is.
Because you could get to your 40s and then spend the next 10 years figuring out, oh, crap, I do not want to do this, right? It's just like all of those experiences are not failures or wastes of time. It's just like those are the building blocks that get you to that. Right. Exactly. And to Preston's point, that's sort of what I was getting at was, you know, now you're starting at 40 or, you know, whatever, but now you're starting from experience, which is different than the last 20 years of, okay, I feel like I was wasting time. You're not wasting time. It's just like, you know.
100%. You don't start from zero. You start from experience.
Exactly.
But now I feel like it's rearing its ugly head. I feel like the bubble's about to burst. I've been saying this for years. I said, this country, the bubble is about to burst. And when CEOs are getting assassinated in the streets with, you know, inscriptions on the bullets that clearly lead to, you know, a motive here, where are we at, Preston? I mean, is this, I'm using that example, but like I see people that are, you know, making him into a saint, the kid that shot Ryan Thompson. And I don't think that's right. But if it creates awareness and a movement to get this ship back on track, I'm not, again, saying that that death or that life was justified, but it's scary. And I'm thinking about our boys your kids, your daughters, like, where are we heading?